So we've spent a lot of time on tendons, which connect muscle to bone. And in this video, I want to introduce something very, very similar, which is a ligament, which is very much like a tendon in that it's made of collagen. And those collagen fibers are mostly well arranged in nice parallel form, although ligament collagen is ever so slightly more disorganized than tendon collagen. And ligaments connect bone to bone. So you have ligaments in your knee that connect bone to bone. Some people say the patellar tendon should really be called the patellar ligament because it connects a bone to a bone. You've got ligaments that keep all of your foot bones kind of in place. Ligaments at the ankle. This is what gets injured when you roll your ankle, turn your ankle. Ligaments all over the place, and they have an important role to play both in guiding joint motion, meaning allowing what degrees of freedom at your joints, to use some terminology we've learned in this class, are possible, and also restricting your joint's range of motion. So in most cases, at most joints, when you reach the end of your range of motion, it's because your ligaments are getting taut, and they are restricting, say, any further eversion of the ankle joint or inversion of the ankle joint. Which is why when you roll your ankle, if it's not too bad, you just injure a ligament and you don't break a bone. So ligaments are very useful for that purpose, is that they both guide what joint motions are possible, and they restrict you from, say, hyperextending your knee, hyperextending your joints, or rolling your ankle. Now, I spent a lot of time on tendons because pretty much everything that applies to tendons applies to ligaments in terms of their mechanical properties. So these are stress-strain curves from an MCL and an ACL. Hopefully you're familiar with those terms. These are ligaments inside your knee that determine the specific trajectory and range of motion of your knee. If you get tackled the wrong way, these get blown out, and it's a pretty serious injury. I think this is from a rat, and this is maybe from cadavers, this is from rabbits, obviously. I can't remember if this is from rats or from cadavers, but in any case, it does not really matter because across different animals, they behave quite the same. Ligaments have a toe region as well, which you might expect given that they're made of collagen. Then they have this nice linear region. And then if you get up here too much, sometimes they'll go into a plastic region like this and then break. When people say they pop a ligament in their ankle, that means they went up here and then it breaks. If you get lucky and you only strain a ligament, that means you are maybe in the plastic region, but you didn't actually get to ultimate failure. You notice, by the way, this is that's 25% elongation, so that's quite a long ways. So we prefer to be down here in terms of where we're stressing our ligaments. Ligaments don't carry as much load as tendons generally. They tend to be smaller and not as strong, but that's okay because they aren't connected to muscles. They don't need to carry, like your Achilles tendon I mentioned earlier, they don't need to carry 12 times your body weight. They just need to keep your knee moving in the right direction and prevent you from rolling your ankle too badly. So ligaments have a toe region on their stress-strain curve. They have this linear region, and if you get up here, you're doing damage, and then eventually it breaks. Pretty straightforward. They also have this viscoelasticity property. They're also viscoelastic. And unfortunately, this plot is not labeled too well, but in these ACL tendons, this is what happens when you load the ACL at a low loading rate. And this is what happens if you load the ACL at a high loading rate. And just like with tendons, this is good from a avoiding injury perspective because it means that if you load a ligament really suddenly, like if you get tackled, like if you roll your ankle, like if you take a weird step when you're lifting, that means when it's loaded more suddenly, it can absorb more energy. Or analogously, for a given stress, it won't deform as much. So this is very useful from a preventing ligament damage perspective. This viscoelasticity property is really great. The faster you load it, the more stiff it becomes, and so it's like an adaptive tissue. So beyond that, I don't think there's too much to ligaments, other than the fact that they don't really tend to heal as well as tendons. They do not have this same sort of vascular structure. They are able to heal to some degree, but maybe not quite as well as tendons. So that is ligaments, very much like tendons, except they connect bone to bone.